Kiwis love being outdoors, so why not transform your outdoor living space with a sun view? With our quality range of stylish pergolas, outdoor blinds and awnings, having a sun view is like adding a new room to your home, but for a fraction of the price. Enjoy the outdoors all year round with a range of products to suit your needs. Book a free consultation now with SunView and see the difference.
The New Zealand government has announced significant amendments to the Equal Pay Act. You'll know this by now, I'm sure, aiming to make the pay equity claims process more robust and sustainable. Brooke Van Velden stated that the current system has allowed claims to proceed without strong evidence of undervaluation, and that led to broad claims that have been difficult to assess. Pay equity is achieved when women and men are paid the same for work that is different but of equal value. For example, care and support workers and mental health assistants perform work that is different, but it is of equal value. 33 existing claims will still qualify under the new rules, including raising the threshold for a role to be considered predominantly performed by female employees from 60 to 70% over a continuous 10-year period. It will also require substantial evidence of historical and current undervaluation and provide clearer guidelines on the use of comparators. However, the proposed changes have faced criticism from various organisations and unions, which describe the amendment as an attack on working women, arguing that they would lock in gender discrimination and undermine years of progress towards pay equity. Alan McDonald, Head of Advocacy and Strategy, joins me now. Alan, a very good afternoon to you.
Hi, Leah. I feel I'm missing out on not seeing the sparkling hair.
Yeah. Well, I think that's my sparkling top. Thank you, Alan. Yeah, well, you know, we're on YouTube now. You can get us on video, Alan. Do subscribe. And you get to see us every day as well. Hey, Alan, lovely to talk to you. What is the intention of the Equal Pay Act?
So it's pay equity, not equal pay.
Sorry, Pay Equity Act.
So that's right. So pay equity was the original legislation was put in place in about 2017, and myself and a couple of my colleagues were on that, the group that helped draft that alongside the unions and Business New Zealand and MB. And the point of it is to ensure that women in largely female-dominated professions or crafts, or however you want to put it, are getting paid similarly, or paid for skills that are similar in other fields that may be not female dominated. So the underlying problem being that, particularly in aged care and I think teacher aides as well is another obvious one, mainly women are highly skilled but not getting the same level of pay as somebody in another profession with similar skills might be getting. So that's the equity part.
Right. So I gave the example, and I think you just mentioned care and support workers and mental health assistants perform work that is different but is of equal value. Who decides it's of equal value?
Well, that's where the issue comes in, and it should be agreed between the employers and those negotiating the agreement. And generally that is unions, but it doesn't have to be. And what you're looking at is similar skills, and that's the key to it. It's similar skills. And that was the original intent of that 2017 legislation, which got altered in 2020 to make it easier and make the comparators less stringent, if you like. And so it was that shift from there to maybe not so similar skills, and so that's where I think the legislation lost its way, or started to lose its way. And the minister has kind of pulled it back to where the original 2017 legislation started.
Okay.
We all agreed on at the time.
Right. So you were just saying, you know, it kind of got away on everyone and the issues became very broad. There were broad claims. They were hard to assess. The minister gave some examples, social workers comparing their skills to air traffic controllers, admin staff to mechanical engineers. I mean, how do they even think that they could do that? I mean, that's we're apples and oranges.
This is where the comparators thing and stronger guidelines around what what are similar skills. Just coincidentally, I got an email yesterday forwarded to me from a member who's involved in the early childhood pay equity agreement.
Yeah.
And in that, they were comparing wrangling little rambunctious toddlers to lawyers and solicitors.
Oh my goodness!
I admire strongly anyone who can wrangle a room of kids, but is that the same
They're
as
not
the
lawyers.
legal profession? It's not
right?
like for like, and the skill sets are quite different. So, those kinds of examples. And another one we've seen is where there is a successful pay equity claim.
Yeah.
So the comparators are then picked up by one of the negotiating parties and then used in the next claim. Because we were successful in that one with those comparators, so we'll be successful in the next one. And they may not relate to each other at all. So that kind of behaviour, and in some ways it was almost setting a de facto national award for some of these things, and that was definitely not the intent of the legislation at the time.
Well, actually, I was about to ask you that, Alan, because there are still 33 claims right now. I mean, it's lost its original purpose, but they can still put it forward. But not that the rules have changed, but there is a higher threshold. So they're not, even though I've seen in the last 24 hours, a lot of unions claiming that this is it, this is the end. It isn't, is it, Alan? They can still make their claims.
No, it's definitely not the end. It's just a reset. And I should also state that as an organisation, ourselves and Business New Zealand and others, we are very strongly supportive of pay equity. It's a genuine issue. It needs to be fixed, and it was being addressed. But I think the parameters, the comparators, the thresholds all got a bit too loose, and that was taking away. And that's why there's 33 in the queue. They've built up so many claims that they can't process them all in time. So that's partially one of the reasons why there's 33 in the queue. But they can be revisited, and if they meet the new threshold, then go forward. It's not taking away things. It's just kind of resetting it to where it originally started.
So with the criteria for these claims thresholds changing slightly, like the 70% female workforce rule, will it affect, do you think, that workers in certain industries? Alan, have you got any industries off the top of your head that you might think this could affect?
Well, one of our team here is currently just starting out on the veterinary nurses' pay equity claim. So that'll have to be reassessed, but I'm pretty sure that's going to meet the threshold of 70%. So that's a private sector one. Most of these claims are in the public sector. The government has a long history of underpaying in these areas. So
underpaying in public or private? No, public.
Public, very much in the public. It goes right back to about the 1930s when women were generally paid less than men for everything. And it's never really caught up.
So that's interesting. So it goes back to the 30s. How much were women usually getting paid less than men? What was the percentage?
Oh, I can't remember. It varies between about 9 and 11% now, and that's the equal pay difference. That's not the pay equity difference.
Right,
not the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. What do you say to critics, though, who argue that raising the threshold for claims could push back progress on the gender pay gap?
Well, I'd argue what we argued at the time when the government in 2020 changed it and made the rules easier.
Kiwis love being outdoors, so why not transform your outdoor living space with a sun view? With our quality range of stylish pergolas, outdoor blinds and awnings, having a sun view is like adding a new room to your home, but for a fraction of the price. Enjoy the outdoors all year round with a range of products to suit your needs. Book a free consultation now with SunView and see the difference.